I slammed the car door so hard the rear-view mirror cracked. Blood from my split knuckles smearing the glass like war paint. Mom's words hung in the air behind me. "You're not my real daughter," as if she'd just confessed to drowning a puppy in the family pool. But it was worse, because she'd buried the truth for 28 years. And I'd killed a man to keep her dirty little secret. In that frozen moment under the sodium glow of our cul-de-sac street lamp, I realized revenge wasn't a choice. It was the only goddamn inheritance she ever gave me. The rain started then. Fat drops pounding the roof of the old Ford like accusations. And I peeled out, tires screeching on wet asphalt, leaving skid marks that looked like claw tears. Dad's ghost, yeah. The one I avenged by putting a bullet in his killer's skull 5 years back, whispered from the passenger seat. Or maybe it was just the static on the radio. But either way, I knew walking away was an escape. It was the first step in burning it all down, starting with the woman who'd raised me on lies, and ended with the brother who'd sold me out for a trust fund. The scent of pot roast still clung to my clothes like a bad memory as I gripped the steering wheel, knuckles whitening against the leather worn smooth by years of Dad's commutes to the mill. It was Thanksgiving, or what passed for it in our fractured little slice of suburban hell in upstate New York, Syracuse, where the winters bite harder than the regrets and the summers sweat out secrets like confessions in a confessional. I'd driven 3 hours from my dingy apartment in Albany, dodging potholes on I-90 like they were metaphors for my life, just to sit at that oak table we'd refinished together after Mom's accident, with the bottle of Merlot and the heirloom vase. She timed it perfectly. That reveal. The mashed potatoes were cooling, the cranberry sauce congealing into something that looked like dried blood, and Tommy, my golden boy brother, the one who'd always been her favorite, was smirking into his scotch like he knew the punchline to a joke I'd never heard. "Elena," she'd said, her voice that fake sweet drawl she'd perfected from years of PTA meetings and church bake sales. "Pass the rolls."
"Honey." "Oh."
"And while you're at it, you're not my real daughter." The fork clattered from my hand, gravy splattering across the white linen like abstract art from a serial killer's palette. Dad was gone cancer, they said. But we all knew it was the chemo that finally did him in after the mill laid him off. After the pills. After the bottle he hid in the garage. I'd been 16 when it hit, holding his hand as the morphine drip blurred his eyes, whispering promises I'd break before breakfast the next day. Tommy had been off at college, football scholarship to Penn State, living the dream while I mopped up the mess at home. "Not your real." "What the fuck, Mom?" The words tumbled out, raw and jagged, slicing through the Thanksgiving music crooning from the old Bose speaker. She didn't flinch, just dabbed her lips with a napkin, the one embroidered with pilgrims that Grandma stitched before the Alzheimer's ate her alive. "Your father, God rest his soul, he had an affair. Back in '95, with that waitress from the diner on Salina Street. Maria something. She died in childbirth. Elena. You were a complication. Complication. Like I was a fender bender. Not a flesh and blood kid she'd bottle-fed and bandaged knees for." Tommy chuckled then, low and mean, swirling his glass. "About time you knew. Cease. Keeps things interesting around here." Interesting. That's what he called it when he ratted me out to the cops 2 years ago. When they came knocking about the safe in Dad's study, the one with the cash from his side gigs, the ones that involved boosting cars from the GM lot and fencing them in Buffalo. I'd taken the fall for that. 18 and stupid, swearing it was all me because Dad was already sick. Because Tommy was going places. 5 years probation. A record that killed my nursing dreams. all while he graduated with honors and a job at some Wall Street knockoff in the city. I stood up, chair scraping like nails on a chalkboard, the whole room tilting like I'd chugged the wine instead of sipping it. "You lying bitch," I hissed. But it came out small, cracked, because part of me had always known. The way she'd look at me sometimes, like I was a stain on her designer blouse. Or how Tommy got the family eyes blue like Dad's, and I got these dark pools that swallowed light. Maria's eyes.
Probably.
Some ghost from a greasy spoon who'd birthed me and bled out on linoleum. Rain lashed the windows as I bolted for the door, grabbing my keys from the hall table where the family photo grinned back at me. Fake smiles. All of us. From the summer before Dad's diagnosis. Mom called after me.
Elena. Wait.
It's not like that, but it was exactly like that. Every lie, every sidelong glance, every time she'd favored Tommy with the new truck or the college fund while I scraped by on waitressing tips. The engine roared to life, and I didn't look back. Not then. But as the taillights faded in the downpour, something ignited in my chest, not grief, not fury, but a cold, calculating fire. Revenge. The word tasted like ash and iron, and I savored it. Mom had stolen my truth. Tommy had stolen my future. Dad? He'd died with his secrets. But I'd buried one for him already. The real reason the cops never dug deeper into that safe. It wasn't just hot cars. It was blood money from a hit. A rival union guy Dad clipped on orders from the shop steward. Back when the mills were mafia playgrounds. I'd found the ledger in the safe that night, 2 years after his death, when Tommy was too chicken shit to open it. Pages yellowed with numbers. Names crossed out in red ink. One entry, V. Russo, 25K done.
Vini Russo.
The bookie who'd roughed up Dad for a bad bet. Found floating in Onondaga Lake with his throat slit. I'd burned the ledger in the backyard fire pit. Flames licking up like vindication. But not before memorizing every line. And when Tommy snitched on me for the cash, framing it as my drug habit to the judge, I took the hit, thinking it was loyalty to the ghost of the man who'd raised me.
But now?
Fuck loyalty. The road unspooled before me like a noose. Headlights cutting through the storm. And I punched in the address on my phone, 147 Elmwood Drive. Syracuse. Tommy's off-campus rental from his consulting days. Before he slimed his way to Manhattan. It was empty now. Sublet to some grad student. But I had a key, spare from when I'd crashed there after a bad breakup. Back when we pretended to be family. The apartment was a tomb when I kicked the door open. Stale air thick with the ghost of his Axe body spray and cheap takeout. I didn't turn on the lights. Just moved by memory to the bedroom, where his closet hid the floor safe, the one he'd bragged about. For emergencies. Cease. Combination was our birthday, 0923. Inside, stacks of hundreds, rubber banded, and a USB drive labeled insurance. My hands shook as I plugged it into my laptop on the kitchen counter, the screen blooming blue in the dark. Files upon files, bank statements, wire transfers from offshore accounts, emails to a lawyer in Albany about estate planning. And there, buried in a folder called Loose Ends, scans of Dad's ledger. Tommy had copied it.
Kept it.
Used it to blackmail the old steward into that cushy job, the one that paid 6 figures for risk assessment. Son of a bitch. He'd known all along, not just about the hit, but about me. An email chain from 5 years back. Tell the judge she's good for it. I've got the proof, she torched the evidence. Family sticks together. right? Attached. A blurry photo of me by the fire pit. Time-stamped. He'd set me up from the start. Played the prodigal son while I rotted on probation. Community service at the soup kitchen where Maria might have slung hash browns. The rain drummed on. A war beat. And I downloaded it all. Evidence. Leverage. The first brick in the wall I'd build around them. By dawn, I'd be on a bus to the city, crashing with my old nursing school buddy Rosa, plotting the takedown. Mom's PDA empire? Crumble. Tommy's corner office? Glass ceiling shattered. But first, sleep. In the empty bed that smelled like betrayal, I dreamed of Dad's hands, calloused from the mill, wrapping around a throat that wasn't Vinny's. Waking up in Tommy's bed felt like waking up in a grave, sheets twisted around me like restraints. The kind they use on psych ward patients who talk too much about family. Sunlight slanted through the blinds like prison bars. And for a second, I forgot the dinner, the words,
The drive.
Then it crashed back. A hangover without the booze. And I bolted upright, heart jackhammering against my ribs like it wanted out. The laptop hummed on the nightstand, USB still jacked in, mocking me with its blinking cursor. I showered quick, scalding water to wash away the gravy stains and the lies, then rifled through Tommy's drawers for clothes that fit. His tees hung loose on my frame, but the jeans worked, stiff with that new money starch. In the mirror, I looked like a thief in her brother's skin, which wasn't far off. Downstairs, I brewed his fancy cured pods, dark roast, because fuck decaf, and scrolled the files over coffee that tasted like regret. The emails were gold. Tommy to Big Sal, the ex-steward turned legitimate businessman, got the ledger. Russo job was clean, but the girl's a liability. She knows too much. Reply, handle it quiet. Family discount. And there it was, the hit on me. Metaphorical, but no less deadly. They'd planned to disappear, the loose end if probation went south.
Me.
The complication. I forwarded copies to a burner email, then wiped the drive clean. Not destruction, preservation. Let him sweat when he checked his safe next weekend. By noon, I was out, locking up like I'd never been there, and hailing a cab to the Greyhound station. Syracuse to NYC, 2 hours of bumpy seats and stranger stares. My duffel bag stuffed with his clothes and my rage. Rosa met me at Port Authority. All curves and compassion. Her nurse's scrubs swapped for yoga pants and a Mets hoodie. Mija, you look like shit warmed over. We hugged fierce. The kind that squeezes out tears you didn't know were pooling. Her walk-up in Washington Heights was a shoebox, peeling paint, radiator clanging like a bad jazz solo, but it smelled like home. Eras con candles simmering. Abuela's rosary beads clicking on the windowsill. Overplates piled high. I spilled it all, the dinner, the reveal, the files. Rosa's eyes widened, fork pausing midair. That puta. After everything, you took the fall for that pendejo, Tommy. And now this. She was the only one who'd visited me during probation. Smuggling empanadas past the ankle monitor checks. Listening when I ranted about nursing boards that blackballed felons.
Yeah.
And it's deeper. Dad wasn't just boosting cars. He killed for them. The words hung, heavy as the plantains on my plate. Rosa didn't flinch, grew up in the Heights. Seen worse than union hits. So what's the play? Cops. I shook my head, chewing slow. Cops are Tommy's playground now.
Nah.
This is personal. I want them to feel it, the slow bleed, the kind that keeps you up nights wondering when the knife drops. Revenge. American style. Not capes and explosions, but the quiet rot of reputations, the IRS audits that come like Christmas cards, the whispers in boardrooms that topple kings. We schemed late into the night, wine loosening tongues. Rosa had a cousin, Manny, ex-cop turned PI, the kind who dug dirt for divorce lawyers and didn't ask too many questions. Call him, she urged, pouring another glass. He owes me for that gallbladder op last year. Manny met us at a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen the next evening, neon buzzing O'Malley's, stale peanuts underfoot. The jukebox crooning Springsteen like a dirge. He was built like a retired linebacker, gut straining his polo, but his eyes were sharp, scanning the room like it owed him money. Over whiskey's neat for him. Soda for me. I laid it out. The ledger. The emails. The family tree with branches snapped like wishbones. He whistled low. Kid. This is RICO territory. Racketeering. Murder for hire. You got the feds' wet dream here. But I saw the greed flicker. Private eye. Not badge. What's your angle?
Dirt.
Leverage. I want Tommy's job. His life. Gutted. Mom's social circle?
Poisoned.
And if it circles back to dad's sins?
Well.
They bury their own. Manny nodded, scribbling notes on a napkin stained with ring marks. $5,000 retainer. Discreet channels, offshore wires.
Chelcor.
I know a guy at the Journal who owes me. By week's end, the first stones were rolling. Anonymous tip to Tommy's firm. Ask about the Syracuse ledger. Russo hit. Check his safe. Manny's contact. A SEC whisper. Flagged irregular transfers. Mom got a care package, mailed from a P.O. box in Jersey, containing a DNA test kit.
Prepaid.
With a note. Confirm what you already know. Or don't. The truth outs anyway. I crashed on Rosa's couch. Nights blurring into shifts at the ER temp gig she'd hooked me up with, bandaging knife wounds from bar fights. Stitching up junkies who reminded me of Dad's garage benders. It grounded me. The chaos of blood and beeps. A reminder that my war was small potatoes in the city's grind. But the calls came, Tommy raging on my voicemail. What the fuck? Elena? You crazy bitch.
Stay out of it, Mom.
Tearful. Come home, baby. We can talk. It's not what you think. I deleted them all, blocking numbers like sealing tombs. The first crack showed mid-December. Tommy's LinkedIn went quiet. Then a vague post about new opportunities. Manny's update over tacos. They're auditing him. Big time. Found ties to a Buffalo outfit, Sal's crew. He's lawyered up. Sweating bullets. Christmas Eve. Rosa dragged me to midnight mass at St. Bridget's. Incense thick as guilt. Candles flickering like jury verdicts. I knelt there, whispering to a God who'd ghosted me long ago. Not for forgiveness, but for fire.
Outside.
Snow blanketed the sidewalks, muffling the sirens. And I felt it, the pull back to Syracuse. The unfinished business. New Year's. I drove up unannounced. The Ford's heater blasting against the frost. Mom's house glowed like a lie. Twinkling lights strung tight. She answered the door in a robe. Eyes puffy. The kitchen clock ticking 11:58.
Elena? Oh. God.
Honey. I pushed past. Straight to the liquor cabinet. Pouring bourbon neat. Where's Tommy?
City.
Hiding out. The feds. They think he knew about your father. She hovered, wringing hands like dish rags. It was to protect you. Elena. The affair, your mother. She was trouble. Involved with Sal's boys. Your dad took you to keep you safe.
Safe.
The word curdled. Safe like framing me for his murder rap? Tommy's emails say different. He played me like a mark. Her face crumpled. The mask slipping. He was always ambitious. But your blood.
Elena.
My blood now. Not yours. Never was. The clock struck 12. Horns blaring from neighbors. And I toasted the air. Happy fucking New Year.
Mom.
Enjoy the show. I left her there.
Door swinging.
Driving into the night with fireworks blooming like accusations. The revenge was just warming up. Next target. The heart of it all. January in Syracuse hits like a fist wrapped in barbed wire. Winds howling off the lake. Snow piling up like unpaid debts. Burying the sins under white lies until spring thaws them out rotten. I hold up in a no-tell motel off the thruway. The kind with vibrating beds and walls thin enough to hear the couple next door scripting their own tragedy. Room 207. Neon vacancy buzzing outside my window like a migraine. And Manny's updates pinging my phone. Tommy's firm suspended him pending investigation. Paper trails lighting up like the 4th, he texted. Sal's flipping. Naming names. Your bro's name's on the list.
Good.
Let the rats eat each other. I paced the threadbare carpet, nursing black coffee from a machine that spat grounds like tobacco chew, plotting the next move. Mom was the soft underbelly, her world of junior league luncheons and country club bridge games. All built on Dad's blood money laundered through investments in local real estate. The flips on the east side. The ones she bragged about at block parties? Ghost properties. Shells for the union skim. Manny's dirt run came through encrypted, deeds in her name, tied to Shell Corps in Delaware. One property. A warehouse on the canal. Hosted meetings with lowlifes who looked like extras from a Scorsese flick. Poker nights, she called them. But the photos showed duffels swapped in shadows. Whispers of horse dope and hookers. I printed them, stuffing into a manila envelope addressed to the ladies' auxiliary president, Mrs. Hargrove. The pearl-clutching widow who'd once called me that delinquent girl at a bake sale. Mailed from Buffalo. Postmarked anonymous. By week's end, the calls flooded. Mom. Hysterical.
Elena.
What have you done? They're saying. Affairs. Money laundering. The club revoked my membership. I let it ring, watching from a burner across town as her sedan idled in the driveway. Engine running like her nerves. Tommy surfaced mid-month, cornering me outside Rose's precinct shift. Wait. No. I was back in the city by then, crashing harder on her couch as the ER gig turned full-time. He looked wrecked, suit rumpled, eyes bloodshot, the golden boy tarnished like fool's gold. We need to talk. Lena.
Coffee.
Neutral ground. I agreed. Because why not? Let him dangle. We met at a Starbucks in Midtown. The hiss of espresso machines drowning the holiday music remixes. He slid into the booth.
Vintinend.
Voice low. This is you, right? The tips. The audits. Mom's losing it, talking divorce from a dead man. Like Dad's ghost is suing her. Poetic. I sipped my Americano. Black is my mood. You earned it.
Tommy.
Setting me up for Dad's dirt? Keeping the ledger like a get-out-of-jail card? His face twisted. Surprise? Guilt? The actor in him sold it. I was protecting the family. You were spiraling booze.
Boys.
That probation bullshit. I took the heat off you by owning the safe story. Liar. I slid a printout across the table, his email to Sal. Handle the girl. Real brotherly. He paled, glancing around like the baristas were feds. That was bluff. Sal's paranoid. Look, I can fix this. Mom's got connections, lawyers. The bishop. We bury it together. Blood's thicker. Not mine. The words landed like a slap. And he flinched. You two made that clear. But hey, family's what you make it. And I'm making mine, Ash. I walked out, leaving him with the bill and the stares. Back at Rosa's, the high faded into hollow. Was this winning? Mom's voicemails devolved, from pleas to curses. You're destroying us? You ungrateful spick brat.
Spick.
The word she'd whispered once. Drunk at a wedding, blaming Maria's side for my temper. It fueled me. That hate. Sharpening the blade. February brought the thaw. Slush sucking at my boots as I drove north again, this time to the warehouse. Manny tailed, his Crown Vic idling a block away. The place squatted by the Erie Canal, chain link rattling in the wind, floodlights buzzing like angry wasps. I cut the fence with bolt cutters from the motel hardware store, slipping in like a shadow, black hoodie, gloves, the works. Inside, crates stamped machinery parts, but prying one open revealed bricks of coke, vacuum sealed, enough to supply half the Finger Lakes party circuit. Photos snapped, geotagged, sent to Manny for the cloud. Then, the safe room, retinal scan bypassed with a magnet trick from a YouTube tutorial Rosa swore by. Inside, ledgers updated. Fresh ink on entries like Evie. Loose end pending.
Evu. Elena Vasquez.
My initials. Circled in red. Heart pounding. I stuffed what I could, USB backups, cash rolls for expenses, and ghosted out. Manny's headlights flashing signal, clear. Back in the city, the drop to the journal guy, Union Widow's drug den. Full exposure. It hit the Sunday edition. Front page. Mom's photo splashed beside headline screaming suburban scandal, from PDA to powder. The fallout was biblical. Tommy called from an unknown number. You bitch. Sal's sending muscle. Mom's in the hospital, stress.
They say.
Heart. I hung up, but the guilt wormed in. A sliver under the nail. Rosa found me chain-smoking on the fire escape, city lights sprawling like a battlefield. He's lying.
Elena.
Classic play. Guilt you into backing off. I know, but did I? Nights blurred with shifts and schemes. The ER a blur of sutures and screams. Mirroring my soul. One patient, a Union vet with a gut shot, mumbled about Russo. Your old man did good work. Clean.
Clean.
Dad's legacy laundered through me. March crept in with robins and subpoenas. Mom's lawyer contacted Manny. Cease and desist. Hush money offers. Tommy vanished. Rumored to Albany safe houses. I pushed harder. Anonymous posts on local forums. Seeding doubt about the family flips. Tagging inspectors. The first foreclosure notice arrived via Manny, 147 Elmwood. Tommy's old place. Liens piling like snowdrifts. But the antagonist in this wasn't just them, it was me. Flipping my own script. Late one shift. Stitching a kid's forehead from a bike crash. I saw Maria in his eyes. Dark. Innocent. What if I'd been the trouble? What if Dad's hit was for her? Protection money gone wrong? The doubt festered. Controversial as hell. Was I avenging or just unraveling? Palm Sunday. A package arrived at Rose's. Mom's rosary. Beads broken. Note in her scroll. Forgive. Or join us in hell. I clutched it. Thorns of the crown digging in. And decided. Escalation. Time to flip the board. April showers in New York aren't just rain. They're the city's way of washing sins downstream, toward the harbor where they bob like forgotten corpses. I felt it that month, the current pulling me under as the revenge machine I'd cranked up started grinding my own bones. The journal piece exploded. Pickets at the country club. Mom's name trending on local Twitter with Syracuse scandal. Memes of her bake sale smile photoshopped over Tony Soprano. She went radio silent. But Tommy didn't, he escalated. The cunning fucker flipping from prey to predator. It started with a tale. Some goon in a black Escalade shadowing my ER shifts. Idling across from the hospital like a bad omen. Rosa spotted him first. During her lunch break smoke. Manny, says it's Sal's crew. Low level. But packing. I nodded. Casual. But inside the fear coiled like barbed wire. Revenge was a drug. Sure. But the come-down was enforcers with nickel-plated attitudes. Manny armed me, figuratively. Mostly. A can of mace in my purse. A Glock 19 registered to a Ghost LLC. Lessons at a Queen's range, where the instructor drawled, aim for the eyes. Sweetheart. Family feuds get biblical. I practiced till my hands blistered. The recoil, a therapy session. Each bang echoing Dad's garage hammer on anvils. Tommy's play came May Day. A text from a spoofed number. Park. Central. Noon. Come alone, or Mom eats lead. Classic. I showed. Bench by the Bethesda fountain. Tourists milling like extras in my noir flick. He emerged from the crowd. Trench coat flapping like bat wings. Face gaunt, but eyes alight with that prodigal gleam. You win. Lena. Firm's toast. Sal's cutting ties.
But Mom?
She's collateral now. He tossed a photo. Her in a hospital gown. For drip. Bruises blooming on her arms like toxic flowers. Stress my ass. Sal's boys roughed her. Message for you. My stomach lurched. You set this up. He leaned in. Breath sour with Red Bull and desperation.
No.
But I can end it. Give me the originals files. Photos.
We Barney ain't together.
Like old times. Old times. Barbecues. Dad's bad jokes. Mom's potato salad hiding the vodka. Lies.
All.
And what? Play happy family? After you branded me the fall guy. His mask cracked. Genuine hurt? Or the flip? The mummer switch. I saved you. Probation over community college? You'd be in the joint now. Not playing Florence Nightingale. Dad's sins were ours. Blood debt. I paid forward. You paid back. Controversial as fuck. That line blurred the sides. Made me question the blade's edge. Was he the villain? Or the mirror? I stood.
Slow.
Tell Sal the girls got teeth. Next move's mine. I ghosted. But the doubt lingered. A controversial itch. Back at the ER. A call. Mom. Discharged. Begging a welfare check.
Rosa drove me upstat.
The threw away a ribbon of regret. The house sagged.
Lon overgrown.
Mailbox stuffed with pink slips. She answered frail. Robe hanging like a shroud. but her eyes, sharp, calculating.
Elena. No hug.
Just a stare down in the foyer.
He's using you.
Tommy always did, pitting us like dogs for treats. We sat in the kitchen, herbal tea steaming like peace offerings. She spilled. Halting, Maria wasn't just a waitress, Union Mall. Sal's side piece before Dad. He killed Russo to free her. But she OD'd anyway, coke from the warehouse. I took you because I couldn't have more. Miscarriages.
Elena.
3. You were my miracle. Lies and all. Miracle. The word twisted. Controversial. Her betrayal softened to tragedy. Then while it Tommy framed me, ambition. He whispered you'd never know. That it protected the real heir. Her hands trembled. But I knew. And I let it ride. The flip, not monster, but enabler. I left with more questions. The rosary beads in my pocket like loaded dice. Manny's next drop, Tommy's burner pings to Sal. Negotiating the sister problem. Cunning bastard, pitting Mom against me to flush me out. June heat wave baked the city. Asphalt shimmering like fever dreams. I countered. Leaked warehouse cords to a rival crew. Mongols patching in Syracuse. Per Manny's whispers. Raid went down midnight, sirens wailing. Flares lighting the canal like hellfire. Sal's operation torched. Product up in smoke. And Tommy's name in the arrests?
No.
But the heat pinned him. Warrants issued. He flipped then. Full snake. Turned states. Ratting Sal for immunity. But not before a hit on me. The goon from the Escalade cornered me post-shift. Alley behind the hospital reeking of dumpsters and despair. Bitch thinks she's smart, he growled. Blade glinting. I maced first. Eyes bulging like cartoons. Then the Glock barked. 2 to the knee. 1 graze on the shoulder. He crumpled. Howling. And I zip-tied him to a pipe. Anonymous 911 from a payphone. Cops hauled him. But the questions followed. Know him. Vasquez. I played dumb. Nurses scrubbed spotless. But the record pinged, probation passed. But flags waving. Rosa patched me up, shallow slice on the arm. Stitches like battle scars. This ends bad.
Mia.
They're circling. I know, but the high, the power, addicted. July 4th. Fireworks over the Hudson. I mailed Tommy's arrest photo to Mom. Captioned, blood's thicker than snitch water. Her reply, silence. Then, a letter. Handwritten, stop. Or, I confess. All of it. Your father's hands on me. The beatings hidden. The reason I drank. You think you're the victim? The twist gutted. Dad the abuser? Secrets layered like onion skin. Peeling to reveal no heroes. Controversial as hell. My revenge fracturing the pedestal. I burned the letter. But the ash stuck. August stormed in. Hurricanes churning offshore, like my gut. Tommy's trial loomed. Federal courthouse in Albany. Headlines screaming. Union prince turns rat. I testified?
No.
But Manny fed the prosecution extras. The EV entry. Twisted to implicate me as accomplice. Flip again. Now I was the target. Immunity deals dangled if I rolled over. The climax brewed. Labor Day weekend. Family summit demanded via lawyer. Neutral ground. The old mill ruins. Where Dad worked. Ghosts in the rust. I went armed.
Rosa tailing discreet.
They waited. Mom frail on a crate. Tommy cuffed but bailed. Sal's shadow lurking in the tree lean. Endgame. Lena, Tommy spat. We all go down. Or we walk. Your call. Mom nodded. Tears carving tracks. For once, be the daughter. The decision hung. Splitting me, avenge the lies. Or bury them, gun heavy in my waistband. Wind whistling through broken windows like judgment. The mill loomed like a skeletal giant, chain-link fences sagging under ivy chokeholds. The air thick with rust and the faint rot of forgotten industry. Dad's ghost was thick here, his lunchbox stories of sparks flying like stars. The overtime that bought our house but stole his lungs.
Now.
It was neutral ground for the reckoning. Labor Day sun slanting low, painting everything in bloody amber. Tommy paced the cracked concrete. Cuffs glinting, house arrest bling. Courtesy of the Fed's half-assed deal. Mom perched on a rusted barrel, shawl wrapped tight against the chill that seeped from the stones. Her face a map of fractures, crow's feet deepened by subpoenas. Lips chapped from pills that promised sleep but delivered nightmares. Sal's muscle? 2 goons in the tree lean. Silhouettes against the birches. ARs slung casual like golf clubs. Look at us, Tommy sneered, stopping short. Prodigal family reunion. You happy now?
Cease.
Mom's a pariah. I'm a snitch with a target on my back. And Dad's spinning in his grave. I leaned against a beam. Glock a cold comfort at my hip. Voice steady despite the quake in my chest. Dad's grave's got room for more. Like the truth you buried. With me on top. Mom stirred. Voice a rasp. Enough. Elena.
This.
Vendetta. It's poison. I lied to protect. Protect Tommy, I cut in. The real heir.
Me?
The accident. The spick secret to hide in plain sight. Her eyes flashed hurt. Or the old fire. Maria was poison. Elena. Sal's whore. Feeding your father lines. Getting him in deep. Russo? He was coming for her debts. Your dad. He did it for love. For her. Then she dies. Leaves you like trash. And I couldn't let you go to foster hell. Beatings or not. We were your hell. The flip landed like a gut punch. Controversial as a confession booth leak. Dad's hands, those calloused paws that fix my bike. Tossed footballs around her throat. You never said. Shame, she whispered. And fear you'd hate him more than me. Tommy snorted. Boo-hoo. We're all monsters.
Lena.
I framed you 'cause you were weak, probation princess. Crying over nursing dreams. I built the empire on his dirt. You'd fold.
Weak.
The word ignited. And I stepped forward, close enough to smell his fierce sweat. Weak like taking a bullet for family? I torched that ledger for Dad.
Not you.
And you sold me out for corner office. He smirked, the cunning mask slipping back. And now, feds want you as accessory. Sal wants you gone.
Choose us.
Or the void. The goons shifted, barrels glinting, message clear. Mom pleaded. Elena.
Please.
Blood. Not mine. But the lie choked. Rosa's text buzzed. Outside. Back up if needed. I glanced, her civic idling. Manny's Vic a shadow block away. The split. Pull the trigger. End the cycle in blood? Or holster? Let the law's slow grind pulverize? A twig snapped, Sal himself emerging. Paunch, straining the tracksuit. Cigar chomped like a grudge. Vasquez blood. Always dramatic. Girl. You stir pot good. But Russo was business, your pop owed.
Now.
You owe double. He flipped it smooth. Tommy rats me. I rat back. Your ma's deeds? Dirty as my product. Walk away. I bury files. Fight? We all swim with fishes in the lake. Like Vinny. Controversial calculus. No clean hands. Mom the enabler. Tommy the opportunist. Sal the devil we knew. Dad the killer saint.
Me?
The avenger turned villain. Gun itching for release. I drew slow, chambering a round that echoed like thunder in the ruins. Here's the deal. Files burn. All of M. Tommy testifies clean, no names but yours.
Sal.
Mom signs over the flips. Clean slate. I walk. You rot. Tommy laughed. Bitter. You think you run this? Sal puffed smoke. Ballsy. But the girls got the drop literally. Mom stood, trembling. Do it.
Elena.
End it. The wind howled, decisions fracturing like the beams overhead. I squeezed, not trigger, but bluff. Gun steady. Swear it. On Dad's grave. They did. Voices overlapping in a chorus of capitulation. Sal first. Files gone by dawn.
Tommy.
Sullen. Full coupe. Mom. Broken. Deeds to charity. Yours. I lowered the piece. Heart slamming. The high crashing into nausea. Victory? Or just another layer of lies? We dispersed, shadows melting into dusk. Rosa's lights flashing relief. Back in the city, the unwind was brutal.
As shifts blurred.
Patience' pains mirroring mine. A wife with bruises, whispering he didn't mean it. I stitched silent, doubt festering. Manny confirmed. Files wiped. Deeds transferred to a tenant's fund. My anonymous push. Tommy's testimony gutted Sal's empire. Headlines crowning him hero whistleblower. Mom faded to Florida. Assisted living. Letters sparse. Forgive yourself. If not me. But the twist nod. Probation violation pinged. The Glock unregistered in New York. The alley shooting flagged as gang-related. Cops knocked October 1st. Badges flashing in Rose's doorway. Vasquez? We need to talk. Interrogation room. Coffee sludge. Walls closing like accusations. Self-defense, I claimed, but the record whispered otherwise. Tommy's doing? Or Sal's parting gift? Rosa lawyered up. Manny dug. Tommy's immunity deal included cleaning house. Me? The loose end. The flip final. Brother to betrayer, once more. November chill settled as bail posted. Rosa's savings.
Drained.
Out on the steps. Wind whipping. I felt the noose tighten. Revenge's bill. Freedom. Thanksgiving redux. But this time the table was a formica slab and a holding cell. The feast, a turkey sandwich on Wonder Bread. Mayo yellowed like old lies. No family, just me. The public defender with coffee breath. And the ghost of last year's reveal hanging heavier than the fluorescent hum. Probation revoked. Charges stacked. Assault with a deadly. Weapons possession. Conspiracy tie-ins from the mill, dust up. Self-defense my ass. The DA snarled in prelims. Vasquez blood, always packing heat. Rosa visited Sundays, smuggling contraband empanadas in her bra. Eyes fierce behind the glass. Manny's working angles. Tommy's deals cracking, perjury whispers. But her voice cracked too. The weight of my war bending her unbreakable spirit. I pressed palms to the plexi, wishing for flesh. For the Heights kitchen where we'd plotted like generals over plantains. Nights in county were symphony of clangs and cries, bunks creaking under women who'd killed for less than betrayal, jealous rages, bad dope deals.
Kids caught in crossfire.
My celly, Big Tasha, ex-stripper turned enforcer, clocked my vibe quick. What you in for? White girl, daddy issues. Something like. I spilled fragments, the dinner, the files, the gun. She cackled, gold tooth flashing. Revenge?
Bitch.
That's currency here. But it bites back. My sis framed me for her man's stash. Now she's free, sipping my ties in Cancun. Controversial mirror. Was I Tasha or the sister? The law ground slow. Depositions dragging into December. Holidays a farce of plastic trees in the rec yard. Mom wrote once, I sold the house. Proceeds to your fund. Forgive?
No.
Understand? Try. Enclosed a check. 5 figures. Laundered clean through her lawyer. I tore it up. Confetti for the drain. Tommy's trial hit January. Televised like a circus. Cameras flashing as he took the stand. Suit pressed. Halo of repentance. I acted out of fear, he testified. Voice steady. Sal's empire threatened my family. My sister. She uncovered it.
Tried to help.
Brave kid.
Brave.
The flip sickened, cunning as a fox in witness protection. Cross-exam cracked him. And the emails? Handle the girl? He stammered. Sweat beading. Metaphor. Tough love. Jury deadlocked. Mistrial declared. But the damage stuck. Sal's crew splintered. Feds nabbing mid-levels. Tommy relocated to witness safe house in witness protection limbo. Philly suburbs. New name. Fresh start. My case? Hung on his coattails. DA offered plea, time served plus community. If I flipped on accomplices. Accomplices. Like Rosa? Manny? February blizzard buried the jail in white. Isolation amplifying the rot. Dreams twisted. Dad's hands gentle on my swing set. Then bruising Mom's throat. Maria's ghost laughing. You avenged the wrong man. Wake sweating. The controversial core, no villains. Just survivors clawing from the same grave. Rose's visits tapered, shifts doubling. Bills piling. Holding. Mija. Manny found dirt. Tommy's safe house logs. He's meeting Sal's lawyer. Double dip. The betrayal burned fresh. I pushed my PD, subpoena it. She did. Reluctant, overworked, underpaid. Hearing in March, judges gavel like a heartbeat. Evidence unsealed. Log showed meets. Payoffs. Tommy's immunity revoked. Rearrested mid-testimony sequel. Chaos erupted, headlines flipping. Snitch son betrays again. My charges?
Dropped.
Conspiracy evaporating like mist. Bail hearing, free. But the stink lingered.
Recorrechte permanent.
Out in April rain.
Rosa uget bom crashing.
Welcome home. But home was gutted. My ER job gone. Whispers of that Vasquez girl. The shooter. Manny grinned over beers. Oh, you. Case closed. My cut to your fresh start. Fresh start. The word mocked. Mom's Florida number rang hollow, voicemail. Heard. Come south? Palms. Not snow. I hung. Driving instead to the mill ruins. Weeds reclaiming the concrete like nature's revenge. Summer sweltered. Me temping at a Brooklyn clinic, wiping brows.
No scalpels.
Trust eroded. Tommy vanished for real, fled, rumored to Mexico. Sal's remnants funding the dip. Mom's letters piled, confessions deepening, Dad's abusive cycle from his own mill-beat father.
Her lies a shield cracked by time.
The twist brewed slow. May. A package, USB from Anonymous. Labeled The Real Loose End. Plugged in Rosa's laptop. Videos. Grainy, Dad, and Sal. 1995. Warehouse meet. Maria there. Belly swollen. Arguing payoffs. Russo's shadow in the door. Gunshot. Not Dad's hand, hers. Self-defense? Or setup? She turns. Shoots Sal's man. But the bullet wild, grazes Russo. Who retaliates?
Chaos.
Dad finishes it. Mercy or cover? Maria killed first. My mother, the ghost, the trigger puller. The secret I'd avenged wrong. Taken fall for shadows. Controversial revelation. Heroes inverted. I confronted Mom via call. Voice steal. The tape. Explain. Silence. Then shatter. She was cornered. Sal's dead.
I
Edited the copy you burned. Protected you from knowing your blood.
blood.
The cycle closed. Debatable, forgive the cover. Or condemn. I hung. The high of revenge long gone. Leaving ash. Labor Day again. Mill calling. I went alone. Gun buried in the yard months back. Ghosts waited. Dad's whisper. Maria's laugh.
Nonsense.
Just wind. Fall foliage in upstate New York is a liar's palette, crimson and gold masking the decay underneath. Leaves crunching underfoot like brittle bones. I drove the thruway north in October. Windows down. Chill nipping at the scars on my arm from the alley scrap. The Ford's radio tuned to static hymns. Rosa stayed south. Rebuilding her savings. Our goodbye hug laced with don't be a stranger. Mija, but don't be stupid either.
Manny?
Off to the next case. A Park Avenue divorce with more dirt than my family's entire saga. The motel on the edge of Syracuse welcomed me back like an old flame, flickering neon. The same clerk with the lazy eye logging me in without questions. Room 207 again. Beds sagging under ghosts. I unpacked light. Duffel with clean teas. The USB burning a hole in my pocket like contraband conscience. Nights. I pored over the footage. Frame by frame. Maria's face fierce. Gun trembling in her grip. The shot that started the unravel. Self-defense. Yeah. But the fallout? Dad's mercy kill on Russo sealed the blood pact. Mom's edit the final lock on the tomb. Controversial as a Rorschach test. Was Maria victim or viper? Sal's Mall. Sure. But fighting back in a world that chewed women like gristle. I understood. Bone deep. The impulse to fire first when the shadows close. But avenging her ghost through Dad's sins? I torched my life for a half-truth. Framed my family on echoes. Mom's assisted living was a cookie-cutter condo in Tampa sprawl, palm fronds rattling like applause. Pool blue as denial. She met me on the lanai. Iced tea sweating on the wicker table. Her hair silver-streaked. Face lined but eyes, those blue pretenders, sharp as ever. You came. Needed to.
No hook.
Just chairs scraping. The gulf between us wider than the bay. I slid the USB across. Play it. She did.
Laptop wielding soap.
The grainy drama unfolding. Maria's cry, it's mine.
Cabron.
The bang. Russo's stagger. Dad's finish. Mom paused it at her death scene. OD implied in the ambulance wail. She chose the needle over jail. Thought you judge. Judge? I avenged the wrong hit. Voice cracked. The raw edge of it all. Tommy? The frame? Your lies?
Tommy.
The golden ghost, last sighted wiring cash from a Veracruz mule. Sal's remnants scattering like roaches. Feds hunted, but he'd flipped so many times. Trust evaporated. He called last month, she admitted. Begging money. Said you ruined him. Ran his mouth. I leaned forward. But you, why edit? Why not let the truth breathe? Fear. Simple word. Loaded. You were 16. Wild with grief. Dad's cancer. I couldn't add murder daddy to your plate. And Maria? Your blood. But tainted. I wanted you mine, clean.
Clean.
The myth we'd chased. Controversial core. Her love a cage. Gilded but iron. It broke us. Tears tracked. Unashamed.
Yes.
But look at you, nurse. Fighter. Stronger than me. We talked till dusk. Unspooling threads. Dad's abuse a whiskey-fueled storm. Her enabling the calm eye. Miscarriages as grief's prelude. Me the surrogate redemption. Tommy's ambition a poison, she sipped. Thinking it tonic. No apologies. Just facts, raw. Debatable. I left at dawn. Flight to JFK, a blur of layovers and layovers in my soul. Rose's welcome. Eras con pollo steaming. A job lead at a Bronx-free clinic. Low profile. Healing hands. I took it. Shifts stitching the city's underbelly, gang tags. Domestic wars. The endless cycle. November elections buzzed. Trump-era echoes in the news. But my vote was cast inward. Therapy. Mandated post-probation. A shrink named Dr. Levy with a Brooklyn accent thick as bagels. Sessions in a walk-up office. Freudian couch sagging. Revenge as ritual. You performed it. Now release. Release. Controversial command. Forgive the unforgivable? Tommy pinged once. Burner to burner. Safe. Miss the fights. I blocked. But the ache lingered. Brother as black hole. December snow dusted the heights. Christmas lights twinkling defiance. Rose's abuela hosted, tamales steaming. Piñata for the kids. Rosary beads clicking like Morse. I gifted her a locket. Maria's photo. Salvaged from the files. Your roots, I said. She hugged fierce. Ours. New Year dawned crisp. Resolutions half-hearted. Run the bridge mornings. Chart a path beyond the blood. But the twist lingered. Maria's shot echoing in dreams. Self-defense or spark. Debatable. Splitting me still. Spring bloomed reluctant. Cherry blossoms in Central Park a fragile truce. Clinic work grounded. A girl, 16. Knife wound from family trouble. As I sutured, her whisper, he'll kill me next, mirrored my mill standoff. I slipped her a card, shelter hotline, Rose's cousin's line. Fight smart, I murmured. Not bloody. Summer heat returned. Canal swims in the Hudson cooling the fire. Manny called occasional. New case.
But you?
Legend. I laughed. Hollow. Mom visited once. Awkward lunch in a diner off Times Square. Eggs over easy. Yolks breaking like barriers. Proud, she said. Of the woman. Not the war.
Proud.
The words settled. Uneasy but thawing. Tommy? Vanished legend. Rumors of a Baja cantina. Slinging tales to tourists. No hunt left in me. Fall again. Leaves turning. I stood at the mill, full circle. Weeds taller. Ruins softer. No gun. Just closure. Dad's ghost nodded. Maria smiled faint. The revenge?
Ash.
Fertile for whatever grew next. Controversial end. No winners. Just survivors. Debating the cost over coffee. Winter's grip loosened grudgingly that year. Ice cracking on the Onondaga like gunfire echoes. But by March, the thaw revealed what revenge leaves behind. Mud-slick truths. Half-buried regrets. And the occasional bone to pick clean. I was back in Syracuse full-time now. Not by choice, but by pull. The clinic job Rosa networked fell through budget cuts. And a temp agency gig at the university hospital called me north. To the cold-eyed fled but couldn't outrun. Apartment above a laundromat on Marshall Street. Spin cycles rumbling like distant thunder. Rent cheap enough to rebuild the nest egg mom's check had seeded before I torched it in symbolism. Shifts were 12-hour marathons, triage, the parade of blue-collar breaks and overdoses. Faces blurring into Dad's mill crew, hard hats off, hats in hands for the reaper. One night, a familiar mug rolled in, Big Tasha, my celly, gut shot from a bar tussle, cursing in 3 languages. Karma's a puta, she groaned as I prepped the ore. Heard you walked. Respect.
We talked post-op.
Her bunk in recovery. Monitors beeping like hesitant heartbeats. Revenge done right. Burned M without bars. I shrugged. Changing her drip. Half right. Families smoke now.
Smoke.
Tommy's trail went cold after Baja Whispers. But a PI buddy of Manny's pinged April Fools. Spotted in Reno. Dealing blackjack. Low-key. New ID. Says hi.
Hi.
The flip final, brother reduced to postcard villainy. I didn't reply, but saved the photo, him aged. Laugh lines etched wary. Dealing cards like fates. Mom's health dipped, hip fracture from a poolside slip. Irony thick as Florida humidity. I flew down twice. Economy's seat of penance. Her room smelling of Benghazi and bitterness. You should have let me fall harder, she joked. Morphine slurring edges. But the talks deepened. Maria's full story. Pieced from letters she'd hoarded, love letters from Dad. Frantic scrawls about Sal's threats. She shot to save him. Elena. Your father was the mark that night. The twist refined. Not self-defense alone. But sacrifice. Maria taking the heat to shield her lover. Dying in the crossfire of her own making. Controversial legacy. Fierce love as fatal flaw. Birthing me into the mess. You honored her, Mom whispered. In the fight. Honored. The word warmed. Debatable bomb.
I eens het vette.
Hired a companion. Her checks echo. Laundered through care. She rallied slow. Sending citrus care packages. Oranges like suns. Notes like olive branches. Debate me anytime. Love wins arguments. Rosa visited Memorial Day. Weekend escape to the Adirondacks. Cabin rental. Lake swims. Bonfires where we roasted marshmallows and marshmallows of the past. You're free. Mija, she said.
Sparks dancing.
But chains? Invisible now.
Free.
Clinic stabilized full-time. Trauma wing. Where I taught newbies. Assess the bleed first. Lies second. Patients opened. The abused wife who stayed. The addict who relapsed. Mirrors to my fractures. Therapy with DR. Levy via Zoom. Sessions dissecting the split. No one's all right or wrong. That's the American tragedy, Gray Wars.
Gray.
Tommy's Reno life leaked more. Girlfriend. A showgirl type. Kid on the way. Irony's knife twist. He reached out June. Email from a casino proxy. Uncle soon. Name her after you? Truce. I stared at the screen. Cursor blinking judgment. Reply. Name her truth. Burn bright. Sent. Deleted thread. Controversial piece. Forgive the snake. Or let it shed. July heat peaked. Canal festival in town fairs. Fried dough. Fireworks over water like catharsis. I wandered alone. Cotton candy sticking fingers. Spotting Sal's old Lieutenant Hawking knockoff jerseys. He nodded wary, no grudge. Just business ghosts. Heard the prince flipped coasts. Smart, smart. The empire crumbled. Warehouses raised for condos. Union cleaned by feds. Mom's flips tenant havens now. My hand in it, whispers, but faded like newsprint. August brought Maria's anniversary, her death date, etched in my calendar like a scar. I drove to the diner on Selena, now a vape shop. Ghosts in the Formica counters. Ordered coffee black. Sat where she might have poured. Imagining her laugh, bold, unbroken. A locket around my neck now. Her photo tiny. Talisman. Fall equinox. I climbed the mill hill. Ruins a viewpoint now. City sprawling below like a healed wound. Wind carried lake scent. Decisions long past.
No climax crass.
Just quiet. Revenges and not bang. But exhale. Winter solstice party at Rosa's. Abuela's tamales. Lights strung chaotic. I danced with a paramedic. Easy smiles. No shadows. Mom called. Proud. Always was. Tommy's baby girl born. Photo attached.
Dark eyes like mine. Truth Elena Vasquez.
Thanks. The circle closed. Debatable. Happy in the haze. Or tragic in the truths unearthed. Readers, hell. Me, still arguing over eggnog. But I walked forward. Never looking back. The hook of it all just a scar story now.